Hey, what's up guys, it's ToXinzZ here, and today I'm going to bring you a tutorial on 3D motion tracking. Now there are three programs you're going to need for this. After Effects, which is obvious, a program called Buju, and it's really easy to get, you can look it up on YouTube, and Cinema 40, also easy to get. Now before we start this, I am going to apologize for the quality of my mic, for I'm using my Astros to record this. I don't own any high-end mic, but that aside, let's just jump into this. Oh, this will be a two or three parts, depending on how long they decide to be. But I'm gonna assume it's gonna be two parts. Anyway, I'm gonna provide all the clips and the Lightrooms and everything that I'm using in a RAR folder, and I'll link it in the description for you to download if you want to follow along, or you can use your own cinematics. Completely up to you. So what you're gonna do to start off is take your clips, put them into After Effects. Then you're going to pre-compose them, and to do that, you're just going to click and drag on the clip, drag it down to this little pre-compose button, and do that for both cinematics. And you'll have these two compositions, and what pre-composing does is it makes its own separate composition from your main composition. That way you can alter it in here, and it will alter it out there. Really useful. If you're using your own cinematic, you're going to want to trim up the comp to where the cinematic starts moving. Mine already are, so if you're following along, you're fine. So the first thing we're going to do with the clips is you're going to click on the clip, hit S to bring up the scale. You're going to change the scale to 101 just to get rid of any black bars that might have on the side, depending on how you record them. And I'm going to do that for both clips right now. So S for scale, 101, oops, 101. Now what we're going to do is go to the first composition with the first clip, click on the clip, you're going to hit Control M. What that's going to do is it's going to bring up the render tab in After Effects. My computer's kind of slow, so give it a minute. Come on. Come on. File. I only use shortcuts. Where's the render? Composition, new layer, effect, blah 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 blah. Alright, I'm gonna pause this and I'll be right back when I figure it out. Alright guys, I'm back. I figured it out. Alright, so what you're gonna do without the shortcut, since I'm using Camtasia, I can't use the shortcut. But you can hit Control M to bring up the render tab, but what I'm going to do is you're going to click on Composition, come down to Add to Render Queue, and that will bring up the render queue. Let me just delete this so you don't get confused. And you're going to do that with the second clip as well. You're going to click on the clip, Composition, and Add to Render Queue. Both of these are in render queue. Now, before we render these out, we're going to render them in a JPEG sequence. What that's going to do is it's going to take a still framed picture of every single frame in the entire clip. So you're going to want to create a folder or two, depending on how many motion tracks you're doing at one time, before we render this out, or else it's just going to be a bunch of pictures all over your desktop. I already have this folder, so I'm just going to continue. You're going to go to the best. You're going to make sure that this is very important, you're going to make sure that it's at 59.94, or if you're editing in 30, which you really shouldn't. Nobody edits in 30 frames per second. It's bad. It looks terrible. But it must be in 60 frames per second, and this is make sure you know what your frame rate is, because it's very important when we go into Buju, or else your motion track will. If you've ever seen a montage done by a mediocre editor who tries to motion track and it's kind of moving along the screen, yeah, it's either because the track points didn't match up, or most likely their frame rate didn't match up when they motion tracked it. But mine is 59.94 or 60 frames per second, so made sure of that. I'm going to click on lossless. And in lossless, you are going to change this AVI to a PNG sequence or a JPEG sequence, whichever you are more comfortable with, but PNG sequence is what I'm going with. Alright, change the lossless for the second clip as well. JPEG, where is it? PNG sequence. Hit OK. Make sure that is 60 FPS. All right. Now you're going to choose your output location. What that is where you're going to render all these pictures to, and I have a folder already made. So let me just go to that real quick. Motion tracks, JPEG, save that one there. Second one, desktop, work, my motion tracks, JPEG 2, and save that one in there. Alright, now all I'm going to do is just render it out. I'm going to pause it and I'll come back when it's done rendering. Alright, hey guys, I'm back. So now we're going to move on to Buju. You no longer need After Effects for a while, so what you're going to do is, if my computer would stop being laggy, I would recommend saving. Well, you should save. Save. Just do it. Save. Oh, don't do this to me. Save. Alright, now we can close out of After Effects. My computer is terrible. I'm about to drop like $3 grand on a computer. It's a graduation present for my father. If he actually comes through with it, but I mean, it's my father. Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna pause this again. Wait for After Effects to respond. Alright, sorry I have to keep pausing, guys. My computer is terrible. But now I'm here in Buju, so let's hit Import Image Sequence. Now you're gonna find where you saved it. For me, User, Corny Desktop, and Work folder. I'm really organized with my stuff. Motion tracks, and I'm gonna open the first JPEG. Not both of them, just the first one right now. If you're working on both of them, following me. Click on the very first image. Gonna hit open. Now we're gonna change it to our frame rate, which we remember was 59.94. Gonna hit apply, and then for some reason it goes back down to 25, so just change it back to 59 again, apply, and then close. Now we have our entire image sequence here as another video. And what we're going to do is we're just going to track it. If you're working on your own cinematic while following me, and you have some kind of movement, like say you have a soldier in the middle of your cinematic or anywhere in your cinematic, and he's actually moving and it's not just like a static picture, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to come up to a poly mask, and you're going to like click out, like say if that truck was moving, I'm going to mask out that truck, and you're just going to keyframe it along, and it automatically updates the keyframes every time you move the mask. So if you wanted to mask out this truck right here, so it will not track the truck, then you're just going to have to adjust the mask every few keyframes. But since I have a static image, I don't need the mask. We're just going to hit track features, advanced, and I always put this up to the top to get as many track points as possible, just so when it renders out, it's not going to be like lacking track points, and it's going to be where I want it. And before you start, or actually, yeah, no, you can just start, hit start. Now depending on how long this takes, I might have to pause again, or I might not. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna wait for this to finish. Alright, now that this is finished tracking, all we're gonna have to do is hit camera solve, then we're gonna hit start. Now, yeah, this should take, yeah, this goes really, really quickly. What camera solving does is going to take all of these plus points where it's tracking the footage and put them all into static points. Now this is, it maps out your scene. So we're going to go to the very first frame and we're just going to scrub through it slowly and see where you want to put the motion track. Look, I'm thinking I want it somewhere around here. But what we're looking for while we're going through this is we're looking for points that aren't moving like at all, not even a little bit, cannot move. We're going to find the X and Y axis, or since I want it on the floor, I think I'm just going to go with the X and the Z axis. So let me see, what do I see here? There's really not many points. It's kind of annoying, to be completely honest, but I see two right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to scene geometry. Now in scene geometry, we're going to add coordinate from hint, change the origin into the x-axis, and we're going to click on this point here. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm going to go with this point. This point here, it's going to turn green. Going to hold control and click on another point. So it's kind of an x-axis. Now it's kind of crooked, but I can fix it in Cinema 4D. You're going to hit connect to selected, then update coordinate frame, and I just clicked that a couple times so it works. And now what we're going to do is hit add coordinate from hint again. We're going to change this one to the z-axis since we're on the ground. If you wanted it in the sky or up against a wall, you're going to want to change the z-axis to a y-axis and find the up and down. And what we're going to do for the z-axis, I'm thinking I'm going to use this point again, and I'm going to bring it back to here. So hold control and click on this point. Going to hit connect to selected again, update coordinate frame a few times. Just close this down, and we can add a test object to see what it looks like. Now I know it's facing up, but Buju's kind of weird, at least mine is. So I'm just going to scrub through this and see what it looks like. Yeah, I see how the ladybug isn't moving at all. That's what you want to make sure that it's a proper track. So just going to delete that ladybug. Close this down. Now we're going to export the camera solve. Export camera solve. We are going to find a place to save it, which I'm just going to save it to the desktop. So just go browse, desktop, and then just name it. I'm just going to name it ToXinzZ Presents. ToXinzZ Presents, because this is going to be the first, that's what the motion track's going to say, so I'm just going to name it as that. Changed it from 3D Studio Max to Cinema 4D. We're going to put the scale, Steam, I always use 100, and then save. Now that's done, and now you're going to do the exact same thing as I just did, step for step, for the second cinematic. Or actually, do I want to go through it with you? Yeah, I'll go through it with you guys. So just save this. You're going to save it as whatever you want. I'm going to name it as ToXinzZ Presents. ToXinzZ Presents track. This is just going to save your progress in Buju. Now you're going to go for a new one. Leave current project. Oh, yeah, I'm just going to close the current project. Doesn't really matter. Oh, what happened? Oh, okay, it crashed. Yeah, I'm going to pause it and reopen it. Be right back, guys. Alright, so now that Buju is open again, we're just going to do the exact same thing. Back to this, desktop, work, motion tracks, JPEG 2 this time. Click on the very first, oh. That's weird. That's kind of weird. Courtney, desktop, work, motion tracks. Is it in JPEG 3? No. JPEG 1? Huh. Why is 1 and 2 in the same folder? That doesn't make sense. Alright, well. Alright, never mind. So what happened there is I think it's because I rendered both motion tracks at the same time. So I'm going to go back into After Effects and re-render it, but basically just render both JPEG sequences separately so it doesn't have that problem. I'll be right back, guys. Alright, so I got everything sorted out and it's fixed now. So now we're going to go back and find the motion track for the second cinematic. Work. Open up. Motion tracks, second JPEG. Open that one up. Doing the exact same thing, guys. 59.94, 94, apply, close. Okay. What happened to all my things? 3D task, camera solve. 3D task. (2D task). Setup. Port sequence, set a camera. Camera solve. It's kind of strange. I don't know what happened here. 3D task, 2D views, solve seeds. Add scene geometry. I guess they just unchecked the buttons. I don't know. Just gonna put everything back. Solve two views, 3D. Add test object. Export, camera solve, export tracks. Setup, import sequence. 3D tasks. 2D tasks. Track features. Okay. So let's bring the track features back up here. We can do the same thing. Pull this up to the max and start it. And once that's going, after this is done, I'm just gonna hit the camera solve button wherever that went. Camera solve. Oh yeah, it's right there. Okay. So yeah, we're just gonna click on the camera solve button when this is done. When it's all done, I'll help you guys track the points. Alright, so let's get through with these points real quick. I kind of want it here, but there's no points right here, so this is gonna be kind of difficult. Everything has to be difficult for me. Let's see. Let's go to scene geometry, add coordinate from hint, my x-axis. And let me see, where do I want my x-axis to be? Actually, this kind of looks straight. From here to here, gotta make sure these points are straight, guys. You have to make sure. Connector selected, update coordinate frame. Where do I want my z-axis? I think my z-axis I can move forward and backwards this way because I'm gonna have a text kind of weird. So I want another point from right here. So let's go with this point and this point. That was my mistake. Forgot to add the other coordinate from hint. X-axis. Connected these two again. Connected. Update coordinate frame. Add coordinate from hint. Z-axis. Sorry about that, guys. And grab these 2 points. Kind of select it. Update coordinate frame. A couple times. And we're done. Alright, now we're going to go back to export camera solve. I know I'm kind of going fast, but I've already showed you this once. Change it to 100. Name it. This one's going to be Into the Cosmos. Into the Cosmos, and done. File, we're going to save the track just in case we have to alter it in any way. Cosmos track, and we're done. Alright, so that's the end of part 1. I'm going to come at you with part 2. Part 2 is going to be Cinema 4D, and depending on how long it takes me to show you all the stuff in Cinema 4D, I'll show you how to re-enter the render from Cinema 4D into After Effects. But if it extends too long, then I'm just gonna go ahead and make it a part 3. But I'll see you guys soon.